Here we are. There we go. Hey, everyone.
Hi, Sean.
Hey, Sherry. How are you doing?
It's good to see you. I
Well, that was
oh,
my. It does this from time to time. Can't just distinguish between Sherry and the
Yuri.
Apple version. Yeah, I'm not
You
gonna
know,
say it again.
what's really funny is that's such a great spot to start. I mean, not that that's
Mhm.
really a hard thing, but it could be. Like, I think for us, we really don't. Not that we don't care. I don't mean to make it sound like that, but so we're talking about the hard stuff. Right? We're talking about hard stuff is okay, and I know a lot of people who might stress out about trying to do something and have it you know, go well, for instance. And I
Mhm.
think maybe Siri jumping in like that was such a beautiful reminder to us how little control we have over things that happen in our lives.
Mhm.
Maybe I'll just start there.
I want to say just how hilarious this is because we were literally talking about, we should go live to prove that we're not bots, and then we
Yes,
start, and then the robot voice goes. Like, how hilarious is that?
honestly, Sean. And by the way, hello to anyone. I'm real, and I believe Sean is real, although I really don't know because he's not in front of me. Are you real?
I'm real. I'm not sure if you're real though, but like I think we can agree that
That
that's
we can
yeah.
agree that that's like something else that's in our world that we would have never been asking 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna just throw everything in our basket today. That it's like I think this has been a lot of hard stuff going on. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean it on a personal level and I mean it on a global level. People that I know, there's a lot, and maybe there's always been a lot of hard stuff. And I'm just paying more attention because we're talking about it. That's
Mm-hmm.
possible. But what do you think? Do you think that things are harder right now?
It feels harder. I mean, I definitely think it feels harder. I think with how much we can view of the world through our little box, like we also can see a lot more.
Yes.
And I think if it's not in our immediate community, it used to be it was if it was in our immediate community, then we would see it and talk about it. But if it wasn't in our town or state or
Right.
or country, like far enough away, where now it's like anything that happens is on your screen.
Yeah, and you're right. And even though that's been the case for a while, I also think coupled with that is that it seems to me, and you would know this better than me, but it seems to me that there are so many more platforms and so many more news channels and so many more, you know, information channels, right?
Mm-hmm.
That it feels as if we're seeing so much. I was just saying this to you before we went live that my nervous system feels like really overloaded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so too. Um, and we were talking a little bit before the call too about there's a time, sometime in the last 10 years, where I just began to immediately distrust
Yes.
anything on the screen. Um, there's connections like this where you're with a friend or someone you've met, and like, okay, I know this is solid. And everything else is kind of questionable, and I think we're in an environment too where if you have an emotional reaction, like my first gut reaction now is to be like, why am I feeling this? And who benefits from this?
Oh, wow.
This is like from like I studied like information security years and years and years ago, and
Yes.
like how people can be, manipulated is pretty intense.
Yeah. So this is interesting because we're doing a little bit of a different conversation than we might normally do, and yet
Hmm.
it's totally pertinent, I think. And what I love about our conversations is that we always just show up with what's here.
Hmm.
And I think that for me, and I hope for anyone listening now or later, that's helpful in a way, because it shows the depth and breadth of the hard stuff humans go through. And I mean, we haven't hit this part of the conversation yet, but here we go with it. But how our culture really doesn't give a lot of space for, hey, I feel like my system's overloaded, or hey, I'm in grief right now, or hey, this hard thing just happened to me, and I'm just trying to figure out how to be like we don't get to do that much, because I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know why either. But I agree that it's not a common conversation. Maybe it's a bit of optimism. Like,
Yes.
I think it's a little optimism. I think it's a little bit of not wanting to burden people with what's going on. I think we have some weird social norms too, of like, hey, how are you doing? Like, you're just supposed to say good, and then you can start the real conversation. And I think that's fine, but I also think we're missing out on a lot of the connection and a
Yeah.
lot of the humanity that we can find between people.
And you and I neglected to start like we normally start, which is fine, but I'm going to say it right now, because I always love to. I know she's probably not watching, but she may be one day. Susan Cain.
Hey.
That'd be great. Wouldn't it one day that Susan Cain does show up? But Susan Cain, author of Bittersweet, which is a book that Shawn and I just happened to be reading at the same time, had coffee, and we were like, "Why, you're reading that book too?" And it has really sparked for us this ongoing conversation. And I think it was Susan, you tell me if this is right, but I think it was Susan who might have been pointing to the fact that particularly America was born, it was sort of like, the new world. It was the new country. People were optimistic, just like you said. People were like, I'm going to go and make it. Like, our country sort of grew out of this, like, positivity of pulling ourselves up by our bootstraps, for goodness sake. Was that her?
I think so. It feels like, I think that's true. And yeah, I think the whole experience of looking forward and reinventing yourself and being able to reinvent yourself over and over again is part of that too. Like, why worry about everything that happened before you immigrated here? What happened that last business that failed? Why would you worry with what happened to you in high school when you're here now and can be successful or can do things now to change the future? I think that seems to me, and guess we're kind of talking about this, but like an American type of value.
Well, and it's not. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I'm just thinking out loud, and like trying to put that value in this environment we find ourselves in the world. This is sad.
Yeah. And what I want to make sure that we say, because you and I are both coaches, right? We are both people who, I'm going to go in and project on you for a minute, right? We believe in growth. We believe in possibility. We believe in being able to transform, ourselves into who we want to be and the life we want to have. And yet I think that there's a balance missing. And I think that's all that, when we started talking about this, that's what we really noticed, was like, I'm all for optimism and positivity. I'm all for people like wanting to create the way that we want to have our lives look like and feel like. And, I feel like also personally, when I push down my feelings, when I disregard what's really true for me, when I ignore, try to like spiritually bypass, then the joy that is there is not quite, there's something off about it.
Yeah. I think we've used the term toxic positivity.
Yeah.
Where there's such a rush to get to that forward view that you actually can't process or feel through what's happening now.
Yes.
And I know that's very much your brand, is to be here in the moment, to take things as they come, and part of your spiritual practice, and you can't have like we talk a lot about duality. I
Yeah.
can be looking into the future. I can be feeling things now. I can have things in the past that are preventing me from living the life that I want to, or helping me live the life that I want to. And everything can be true and happening at the same time.
Exactly. And thank you for bringing that in. I think we need to bring that in every single time, right? Because I was not brought up that way. I was brought up with really black and white thinking. And I don't think that serves me, and I don't think that serves anyone, truthfully. I think life is all of that, and it's interesting. I'm just going to throw this in because it's been a conversation I've been having a lot. As you know, I've had a number of deaths and also big loss in my life over the last number of months. And I was talking to someone recently about grieving, which has been a topic, but I've been playing around with, sometimes instead of saying I'm grieving, I've been playing around with saying I'm loving. Just not to bypass the feelings of grief, because it actually doesn't. I found that sometimes I'm still crying and still feeling a lot of emotion, but I'm playing around with what if I change around the language of what I'm feeling. And I think it's just one of those examples of the myriad of things that are happening at once, right? So yes, it's sad, and yes, it's love. Yes, it's, and my brain interprets things differently depending on the language I'm saying to myself. And so I think part of it is this for each of us, right? Because I think this is a very personal thing. When we're going through something hard, knowing when to just be flat on the ground and I can't get up right now. Knowing when to pull ourselves up, knowing when it's okay, when we trust someone enough to just say hey, here's where I am, knowing when maybe it's not so safe. I just think it's not black and white.
No.
Yeah.
It's not. It would be so much easier if it was, though, Sherry, right?
It would. I listened to a podcast this morning, and I'm so sorry. Bless her heart. It was a brand new podcaster, so I don't remember who it was, but I will remember. I'll post it when I do. But she was talking about grief, and it was beautiful. She was just doing this whole it could be this, it could be that, it could look like this, it could look like that, it could feel like this, it could feel like that, it could be this. She was just giving people total permission, right, to experience grief however they were experiencing it. And I love that. And I also love, I think this fits into our conversation, in that one of the things that of course I think most of us know who've ever been the grieving person is that the hardest thing in the world is when someone says to you, "Oh, I hope you're feeling better today." And it's okay, what? So she was talking about that, that people so bad. I mean, they love us, of course. People so badly want us to feel better, but it leaves the person grieving in that place of do I want to make her happy right now? Do I want to be true to myself? Is it okay? Are they saying it's really not okay that they're tired of me crying? You know what I mean? But
it's so loaded, because it's also what is better, right? What does that mean?
Right. Exactly. Right. And but I think it goes back to that, when we're going through hard stuff, and partly I think why you and I want to do these open conversations, is that it's normalizing. I just feel like we need to normalize more of what's true for human beings, and not just, I mean, we all know this, right? It's the elevation. And I love highlight reels. I love those beautiful moments. I love the beautiful dinner table, where no wine is spilled on the tablecloth. And there's a whole normalizing of over here, that I think needs airtime.
And talking about in a world of AI, we're talking about proving our humanity through stuff like this, where you're in front of people like being messy, because life is messy, and being witnessed for that by other human beings in the real world is a really beautiful connective thing.
Yes.
And it's my wife's a therapist, and she's been talking a lot about how therapeutic like a chatbot could be, like ChatGPT, for handling emotional things, and it's we're still kind of figuring our way through that. And it's one thing to have someone there that you can talk to and talk things through with, and there's
Right.
another thing to have someone that understands how it feels to be where you're at.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think a lot of these conversations that we have are trying to, when we're in the growth group, is to witness people where they're
Yes.
at, and how people come in really uneasy, and they
Yeah.
come in a little bit afraid or a little bit ashamed to talk, and then through sharing and support, like it's really transformational. And there's so many people I almost strangers through this community that we're both part of, but like I see them and I'm like, oh, you know, there you are.
Yes. Oh, Shawn. Oh, that was beautiful. I love that. I love that so much what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, there you are. And I think also in the same moment is kind of a sense of, oh, here I am.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at least for me, when I'm allowing myself to be vulnerable, to feel what's really going on, there's just like such a sense of like coming home
Mm-hmm.
and letting go of all of that. Yeah.
Because when you see that humanity in someone else, you're also revealing that to be true for you.
Yes.
And I think that's really powerful and impactful.
I love that. I know we have to hop off right now, but I want to appreciate you, Shawn, because talk about being messy. I love that we've made this commitment to one another to just hop on and just have a conversation. And whether anybody comes or nobody comes, or people like it or they don't like it, or we like it or we don't like it, but that it's just a testament to the process of being alive. And I love that. I want to thank you.
Likewise, I feel so much more like directive of my life doing these, if that's a way to say it. But like, I'm gonna go do a bunch of more work when we're done after this. But like, I'm more motivated and more aware, and I think these conversations help ground me in that. So thank you too, buddy.
And listen, thank you. Anybody who might be watching now, I'm sorry we don't see the comments. I don't know why, but it doesn't, we'll comment later. But just to thank you now, if you're watching, thank you if you're watching later. And I just love that it's like, let's all just start to maybe talk a little bit more about the hard stuff so that we can all support each other in allowing it in our lives and accepting it.
Yeah, well said.
Thank you, Shawn. We'll see you next time. Okay,
yep.
bye-bye.